Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got my Ge0 here now. I bought this brand new back over the fall of 2021. I put about, let's see how many shots I get on it. These new markers, they weigh nothing. I got just over 24,000 on it. So I've always keep the bolt clean after every day of play. I usually take out the bolt, the detents, run a squeegee through there, you know, clean and re-lube the bolt assembly. Just changed the batteries like the last time I played. They were showing pretty good on here, but I felt like I was getting drop off. Like I would have a stream going, and then it would start to drop it off a little bit. So I changed the batteries and it seemed to help. So besides that, I have not serviced a regulator yet. I've watched a few videos online how, you know, Planet Eclipse does it. So I got all my tools here. Only thing to get out the pistons, I got need all those pliers, so I'll be real careful with that. I might put some tape around them if I have some laying around to get it out. Or I can try like a Q-tip, stick it in there, wiggle around and pop it out. But you got your Pops ASA right here. You know, you got 4mm screws here, or I think it's 5/32. I'll tell you guys exactly now. Let's see. That's it. Doesn't fit perfectly for some reason. Alright, so I'm gonna stick with my 4mm. Start taking this bad boy apart. There's a little bit of debris in there, getting in my way from getting these on. Just got paint in there, kinds of stuff. So 4mm fits it just about right for a 5/32. Long screws here. Definitely has some tension on it at the beginning here, because the spring on the piston there. Definitely put a lot of lube there from the factory. Filter looks clean on there. No issues with that. I just got paint on here pretty much. O-rings on here look good. These are just static O-rings, they don't move. But they put a lot of grease on them from the factory, so everything just goes together nice. That's that. Paint over here. Spring. Okay, got it out. You definitely have to grab a hold of it a little bit. It's not going to come out too easy. I did not crimp anything. I mean, in the Planet Eclipse video, the guy's using pliers too, so I don't see the big deal. But you just got to be careful not to really crimp it. So I don't see the issues with that. You're definitely going to scratch a little bit when you do that, but it's just the nature of it, pretty much. So I'm just going to wipe this down. Check the O-ring. In the video they say it's a 14/2. Looks good. I don't see any issues with that. Got a little bit of grease in there. Now they don't clean out around in here, but I'm gonna use a decent amount. can see in there is some grease, so I'm just gonna wipe it out. Then I'll put a little bit more on the Q-tip here and just lube it up so everything slides in nice. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Put the marker to the side here. This piece you don't really have to take out, but I think I'm gonna anyway. Nice Allen key for the velocity adjustment, but this piece just unscrews here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this out. Alright, so it did take the velocity adjuster with it. It definitely got a lot of grease in there. Wow. They really caked these up from the factory. Brake seat looks good. No issues with that. They say to put almost no grease in this, or very little, but every time I get newer markers, they have them like lube to all hell. I mean, like a ton. And now clean the threads. That looks good. If you have to change a rake seat, you put a 1/8 Allen key in here. Okay. Get adjustable wrench or pliers, take this off, unscrew it, and you can service the rake seat there. Pretty easy there. So I'll put some grease on this. They actually have some grease in this part too. Man. Well, I'm just going to clean out the old stuff. I'm just going to put a little bit more new stuff in here. Simple as that. Looks like they even have oil on this O-ring here. Can't clean out the number 8 right there. Okay, that's cleaned up. Just a little bit on this one here. This is just to adjust the velocity. That's all it's for. I'm just going to take it, I'm going to screw it right back in here. I'll use excess grease here. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I'll unscrew this all the way. It's all the way out right there. Leave that like that for now. Okay. So what I'm going to do, start putting this thing back together. Takes a little bit off this swap here. A little bit of grease on it. And I run it inside the body here. You see how it's pretty dry right now? Just so everything goes together smooth here. Put a little bit more, won't hurt. Now you're gonna have grease on the piston O-ring, but this is just gonna help it get it in there smooth and all that. So that's in there. Okay, put that down. Now we do the piston. Fill this one like you would any other dynamic O-ring. Make sure it's filled. around the whole thing here. I'm going to take some, I'm going to put it on the stem of this thing because that's where it's really going to ride, on the inside of the rig. Seat there, the number 8 O-ring. And drop that back in. You can do that, or you can just put it together as one piece here. That's what I could do actually. Grab that. Okay, that's done with that. Now I'm going to take a Q-tip. I'm going to take all of the swab off of it and put some grease on there, and that's going to help me get it inside this number 8 right here. That one's real important. That thing's lubed up good, because this piston valve stem here is going to be riding up and down every time we shoot inside here. Every single time. That should do it. Take this bad boy, a little bit on the O-rings here. Well, actually, you know what? I don't need to, because it's already inside the body here. There's just a little residual here, so it's not completely dry. Just gonna screw it on hand tight. That's it. Once it stops, you're good. Okay. Now I'm just going to drop everything back in here. Spring, piston, making sure that it's in the top there, it's centered. That's it. We got it grease inside the chamber here, grease on the piston there. We're good. Put everything back together. Clean out these screw holes here. Definitely got some paint. Definitely got some pressure on it. Both sides a little bit at a time, like you would lug nuts on a tire. So that's tight. Good. 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 Not trying to crank them hard, but you know, getting them tight. Don't want to strip them. Alright, so that rate is serviced. What I'm going to do is I don't have the Corona obviously, but it's all the way out right now. We want to do, they say, about 4.5 turns or so. With this one, the more you go in, the higher velocity. So I'm going to do 4 turns. So right now we're all the way out counterclockwise. I'm going to go 4 turns in, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. So we'll Corona that before we play. But this thing is serviced. Good to go. I believe I cleaned and greased the and well, I might as well just show you how I'm going to do my IV core while I'm at it. Maybe we'll take apart the back prop seal here. We'll see. Yeah, I haven't used this. I have not used it. Cleaned the last time after I got done playing, so no wear on this at all. Get down the inside I can. That O-ring that's in there. Grease tends to spread out a lot in here. That's how you want it to be greased. It's not a glove, it's just filling the sides of the O-ring. See if I could do the prop shaft here. Get this thing off. I just have to work this thing around. That's it. Got the spring there. Part for there. Clean back there a little bit. Check my O-rings, everything's looking pretty good. This one's actually not that over grease, I'm surprised there. Tiny bit of grease on this bad boy. Leave it like that. See if I can drop the spring in. Alright, drop that in. Now we re-grease this one. Okay, that's good. That's what you want right there. Making sure everything is lined up. Okay. Now get this piece back in. Just locking ring. There she's in now. Alright, hopefully that's the right way. We'll find out. Alright, put this all back together now. Put a little bit of grease on these. See, drill on the bolt tip here. One thing I want to make sure is that this front of the bolt here is tight. This just comes off. And make sure this thing is on here tight. Good. Let me put this thing back together. Good, just put a tiny bit of my fingers, rub them together. Trying to static O-rings here to help get it into the body. Let's see if it works. Just checking that this thing's down here still. Yeah, it looks good. That's it. We're good. So that is completely serviced there with the rig. I mean, in these new markers, there's not much, but so you just got the, you know, the bolt assembly and the inline regulator here. That's really it. There's no LPR, no exhaust valves, nothing. So maintenance are pretty pretty easy on these newer markers here. That's it for this one. Ge0, maintenance done, bolt assembly, inline regulator, good to go. For, I mean, inline regulator, you know, it's not even 25,000, just did it on there. And no one really has a recommendation exactly when to do them. Some people say, you know, every 40,000, 50,000, 80,000 shots. I even emailed Planet Eclipse and asked them, and they said for the, you know, for the IV core, every 10,000 maintenance that, clean and relube, and then clean and relube the inline regulator every 20,000 or so. I think that's too much for the IV core. You know, I always like to do it after every play, but you can go, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 shots before you really should, you know, have to clean it or should clean it. But I like to just do it after every time I play, which could be 2,000 to 4,000 shots usually. You can go probably about the 7, 8 if you really want to. But what's going to happen is, you know, this thing will still function if you don't service it for 10,000 shots. But, you know, there's going to be no grease left on there. And you're going to start wearing out the O-rings quicker. So, you know, it's up to you what you want to do. But I just know that when I come home after a day of play and I clean it, I know it's going to work the next time because I checked everything. And if you keep these markers cleaned and lubed, they're not going to break down. I mean, there's nothing that's going to happen really, because you're not allowing much friction inside the marker. So the regulator, I'm probably just going to do it every 20,000 shots because that really is not much. That's 20,000 shots. That's like 3 or 4 months of play for me easily. So that's not that big of a deal to do. It's pretty easy. It only took me, what, 10 minutes to do it. So the hardest thing is really getting out the piston with needle nose pliers. I'll probably order some smooth shank needle nose pliers just for this, so I don't have to worry about that ever, like, because these have a little bit of, you know, grab to them right there, kind of sandpaper-ish texture, so it can, you know, crimp them. But, you know, just be careful. But I'll order a special pair just for this. I even tried these circuit pliers, but they just weren't doing it. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. There's not much of them out there really explaining exactly how to do them. I hope I went through them pretty thoroughly for you. If you have any questions, and leave a comment. I'll try to help you out the best I can. Alrighty, there you go.